Hi, everyone. Welcome to a Hill at Home session. We're very happy to have you here. We're so excited to have Maya Vander here. Um, and I just want to introduce our amazing student moderators, Jordan and Serena. We're so happy to have you as well. Just so you know, Michael Kagan with the yellow shirt, he will be your tech support for tonight. We'll start with a conversation between our student moderators and Maya, and then you'll have an opportunity to have questions for Maya. You will submit them to Paula. And yeah, just have fun. Jordan, Serena.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Talia. First of all, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you all to a Hilla Home, a session with Maya Vander. So to introduce Maya, so Maya Vander has the innate ability to understand and meet her clients' needs as a trusted advisor throughout the sale and purchase process, and prides herself on successfully bringing a property and client together. As we've seen on Selling Sunset, Maya always puts the needs of her clients first, even traveling from Miami to Los Angeles and being as responsive as possible.
Maya values the importance of listening to buyers and sellers intently, and her outgoing personality immediately puts clients and counterparties at ease. Maya has lived in several countries. Israel, she grew up in a lot, the Netherlands, Spain, and Singapore before moving to Los Angeles, and now Miami. And we are so happy to have Maya join us today.
Is this me saying hi? Hi, everyone. Sorry if my hair is messy. I'm just looking at it. I just literally washed it and it didn't blow dry. So this is how it looks. But anyways, I'm happy to be here. And I'm going to let you guys host, but I just want to apologize if anyone here screaming kids in the background. As you all know, I do have two of them and it's nonstop.
Awesome. Thank you, Maya. So our first question that we have for you is kind of a specific question. And the question is, so in the first season of Selling Sunset, there's a scene where you and the rest of the girls they're talking about your accent, your Israeli accent. So talk about what it's like when clients or colleagues or other business partners find out you're Israeli. Do they not have a reaction at all? Is there a strong reaction? What's that like?
Thankfully, the reaction is pretty good. Like I didn't get hate. So I'm lucky about that because, obviously being, growing up in Israel, every time there is a situation in Israel, people hate me with like I'm and I'm a type. So I do get hate on social media, unfortunately, with that. But with clients in real estate, thankfully, I never had that issue. I was the fact that I'm from Israel, that actually never affected my business, thankfully. I always had good feedbacks with real estate. So I'm very lucky because I've been doing it almost for 10 years. So saying I'm from Israel never hurt my business.
Well, I think as well as everyone else is really excited about the upcoming season of Selling Sunset, which is coming out November 24th, I believe. Yep. So what can we expect from this season with regards to the houses you're selling and all the drama? What can you tell us right now? Like, what can we expect?
So unfortunately, season 4 for me, they didn't show my real estate, I think. I think it's only season 5. They focused a lot on the drama and they chose what real estate scenes they wanted to see. So unfortunately, I don't even think I have real estate on season 4 as much as I would want to show. We do have 2 new girls, Vanessa and Emma. And Emma is basically a rival of Christine. So literally the whole season is focusing on that, and you'll see. And most of the cast, the girls, they don't get along with Christine. So I'm like, okay, where is the real estate guys? But, people love the drama. And unfortunately, the producers, I feel like they choose to focus more on that. So that being said, we have 2 girls. Again, I'm pregnant, which is nothing exciting at this point anymore, but that Davina is coming back. Yes, she is, but I actually talk to her all the time. She's great. She's not that bad, I promise. And who else? And Mary, still at the office, and Yeah, so besides the two new girls and then Chriselle, we don't see her with Jason yet. That's season 5. So a lot to look forward to, but yeah.
I know I'm certainly excited to see season 4. It comes out right when I get on Thanksgiving break. So what better time for the new season to come out?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about just a second ago, the relationships that you have with the other girls. And, I wouldn't want you to play any favorites here, but who would you say you're closest with on the show? And, why are you so close with them?
So it's interesting. So on the show, they choose to shoot whoever they want to be seen with. So for some reason, they didn't choose a lot of barely any scenes with, let's say, me and Chriselle, but we have a good relationship, or me and Mary. But I do talk on the off cameras. I talk to Davina a lot. I think she's very smart. I think the editing was brutal for her, and she got a lot of hate. So she's not as harsh life. So I do talk to her a lot. I talk to Emma, the new girl, a lot. I actually talk to all of them, but yeah, I would say Davina the most, then Christine too. So it's interesting because I talk to Emma a lot and then I talk to Christine a lot, and they hate each other. So yeah, and I talk to, honestly, I get along with all of them. But on the show, they choose to have groups. So it's going to be Chriselle, Mary, and hating on Christine, and then me, Davina, and Christine shooting more together. So it's interesting how they want to divide and kind of like purposely film, us with certain girls. It's part of being on TV, and I let the producer do their job, but yeah.
Definitely fun to get like a little sneak peek of what we can expect.
I know, maybe I'm saying too much.
No, I mean, I'm excited. It's making me even more excited. So speaking of Chriselle specifically, I think and I'm sure many other fans of the show have been wondering about Jason and Chriselle. Like, how did this happen?
I've been wondering too. No, you know what? I tell you what, we know that they had good relationship for a while, like friendly relationship. And I didn't know they were a thing until someone sent me a screenshot of a picture from Instagram and asked me if Chriselle and Jason are together. And I saw the photos like everybody else pretty much at the same time, and they totally hide it from us. Yeah, they are a thing. It's not a publicity stunt. They are definitely together for sure, 100%. So yeah, I mean, to each their own. But yeah, no, I mean, she seems happy and he seems very happy. But yeah, they're together. I wish I could tell you it's a PR, but it's not. It's really like for real. Like I think he lives with her, to be honest.
I mean, just a follow up to that, like, is this at all weird for Mary, like with her having history with Jason? Like,
it's a good question, because I was actually thinking the same thing. Look, this is my honest opinion, off camera, off record. Obviously, we are recording stuff, but don't put it on Us Weekly or TMZ. Mary and Jason, when I joined your group, Mary and Jason were literally in the phase of kind of like breaking up. And I know she really loved him. Now, granted, she's married to Romain, they're happy and all that. But as a woman, if you're a guy that couldn't come through for you, but come through for another woman, I'm like, what was wrong with me? That's how I would think. I think Mary is very supportive. It looks like she's very supportive. But who knows what goes, really on what she really thinks. I don't know. She didn't tell me. But to everybody else, it looks like she's very supportive. But I was asking in the show too. I don't know if they're going to show it, but I don't know who I talked to. And I'm like, I wonder how Mary feels. I wonder if it's kind of like a sting, like, okay, you didn't want to commit to me, but here you are totally like committed to Chriselle. So, I mean, obviously she's in a different place in her life right now with Romain, but it's kind of like still, you see your ex-boyfriend moving on and very happy. But I have a good relationship, all of them. So I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Awesome. So kind of taking a look at the show kind of like as a whole, what would you say your favorite element of the show is? Whether that's like shooting or watching it after cast?
Let me put the night. The light is off. It's very dark in my office. Anyways, oh, now it's much better. You know, I love filming. I do enjoy it. I would probably enjoy it more if I was actually living full-time in LA. I used to live literally 5 minutes from the office. Then the show got picked up and we moved to Miami. But I do love to film. I love more individual scene versus the group scene, because the group scenes take forever. But we do have fun. You know, the final product, it's kind of cool to watch how they put everything together with some crazy music and all that. And I think the cinematography of the show and the way they show LA is pretty cool. Obviously, like the houses and everything. So overall, it's a great experience. I mean, I knew we had a good product when I saw the demo before season 1 even came out. So I knew it's going to be a nice show, but I really didn't know how much of a success it will take, especially after season, obviously 2 and 3 during the pandemic. It really took off.
I mean, just to follow up to that, like, what has been your favorite part of working at the Oppenheim Group in general, like either before the show started or during?
I think I don't want to tell you Jason because it's not. I think what I like about your group generally, the marketing is brilliant. I think Jason is very picky and specific with the marketing and the way present the company. I think that's a great thing with the O group. I would say probably the marketing, and you know, it is a small brokerage. It is a small boutique firm, so it's always nice when if you need something, you can call and get an advice and so on. But I've been a little bit more removed because I'm more in Miami, focusing on my business here. I know Jason for so long, so it's kind of like always like like a family.
Kind of talking a little bit about.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah. Like you hear the baby crying.
Kind of talking a little bit about your business. We saw in the last season how you were like in the process of going between LA and Miami and starting your own business. And I'm sure like the rest of us on here, I follow you on social media and I see all these listings that you have and they're just insane. They're so cool. So what's it like having your own business now and having your own listings in Miami, and talk about that experience a little bit.
I mean, Miami for me was just starting from scratch because I mean, I did real estate in LA years before, and then we moved to Miami. So I'm like, I don't know anyone. I had to really build from nothing. So I do a lot of Zillow advertisements, and that's how I get clients. And it's a process and it takes time. And I work with a lot of lower price points, frankly. Not everything that I say is like 10 million. I wish that's the goal, but I start from like very like low price point and just slowly and little building my clientele and hopefully get more referrals. And if the show helps, great. But it just takes time. Only this year I work on my branding, my own logo, my own kind of like small team, if you want to call it this way. I do take a lot of ideas that Jason does in his company, in his marketing, and I apply it for my style and stuff here in Miami. I'm studying, gosh, I feel like bad to say it because I've been studying for 2 years. I'm studying for my broker exam, but I never have a chance to study because I have like the little ones here. Eventually, maybe I'll open my own brokerage, but I'm under the Keller Williams right now and just kind of like establishing my own branding and name. But it takes time. Let me tell you, people see the show and they think we just sell like kind homes all day long, and it takes time and it's a process and it's not.
So just to follow up to what you've been talking about with your own business, what do you recommend in getting leads?
Yeah, so I mean, there is always ways to get leads. So in LA, for instance, I used to do a lot of door knocking. I know it's like you go door to door and you knock. It's very old school, but I did it because it was free. And when I started, I had no money to spend on Zillow or online. So I had to somehow find clients and meet people. So that was one thing. Open houses I was doing a lot of networking events. In Miami, I just started to do, obviously I had some money from real estate. So I invested in Zillow and online marketing, and I buy leads. And a lot of the leads are basically, excuse me for saying, are shitty, but a lot of them are good. So that's how I built my business a little bit in Miami. It works for me. And now that obviously COVID is kind of like, well, we still have it, but and all that, but I can try to do a little bit more networking, and I'm planning to do it. to try to just get more clients and establish more of presence in Miami beside online marketing.
Okay, so talking a little bit about kind of being a Jew, a prominent Jewish figure, this is kind of like a two-parter. The first one is, are you like the only Jewish agent really in the O group? And what's it like being a Jewish real estate agent, a prominent Jewish real estate agent?
Well, Jason and Brett are Jewish basically, but they are Jewish, but they're the one who Jewish who don't even know when Yom Kippur is. So those are kind of Jewish, you know. So Jason always joked that he's like, yeah, I'm Jewish for certain clients, but he doesn't do Passover. He's like the worst Jew ever. Just when I thought I'm a bad one, like here comes Jason. So Jewish actually. And the rest are not. Wait, let me think. Yeah, I'm the only one. I'm the only Jew. Sometimes there is a conflict with the Palestinian. I'm like, oh God, here we go. But no, nobody cares. I mean, everybody respects each other. I'm not only the only Jewish, I'm the only Israeli one. So it's obviously different culture, different mindset. I'm very direct. Like I don't bullshit around. So with someone like Jason personality, sometimes it could kind of like clash a little bit. Other than that, it doesn't affect me as an agent in the O group or anything else. The only time that I can tell you, because now technically I'm a public figure on social media, obviously when there is a conflict with Israel, then I see where the hate comes. But before that, nobody cares.
I'm very curious, especially with you being like the only practicing Jew, I guess, in the Oppenheim group. Have you been able to share any Jewish or Israeli traditions with your fellow coworkers?
Not really, but let me tell you a story. I'm not that religious, but I do have with Kippur, I actually don't fast in Kippur, but I don't drive. Because in Israel, if you've ever been to Israel in Kippur, nobody drives. It's like, it's quiet. It's such a nice, like, it's on the bike and it's a different like vibe. So I never drive in Kippur. I just believe it's bad luck, or I never work or do anything. I'm just home. So I thought production, we were filming. Actually, it was Heter's birthday. And they were filming a scene. And before that, I told her, no matter what, I'm not filming on the 15th. It's like Yom Kippur, like it's kind of like I don't want to jinx my luck or whatever. Sure enough, one of the cast member, not cast, well, one of related to the cast, got COVID, and they were filming in that scene the whole. They were filming the birthday party, and then like found out the next day it's COVID, and then we had to shut down for like a week from production. Without saying who had COVID, maybe you Google it, maybe you saw it, I don't know. But anyways, so I'm like, oh, this is a way for God to protect me because I didn't shoot in Kippur, because me and my luck, if I would shoot, I would probably get COVID, but I'm just kidding. But anyway, that was the whole Kippur thing with production, that like, I just put it as a principle. I'm just not filming in Kippur, or frankly, any big Jewish holiday, like, Rosh Hashanah evening, I wouldn't go and film. Like, it's just something that, yes, I'm not religious, but I do the holidays, and it's very important to me. So I try to avoid working as much as I can.
Great. We're going to open it up now to the audience. So we have a question from Layla from UC Davis. She wants to know, as well as some of the others, how much of the show is accurate and how much of the show is fabricated?
Unfortunately, it's not fabricated because the drama is real. The thing is that when we film, and let's say I will say something, but they didn't catch it, or they need to reshoot it, or the lighting, they will ask me to repeat it. So yeah, those kind of things happens. We do know where we film, which location, obviously, which house we're going to show, what we're going to do. If we obviously have a closing, the buyers, sometimes it's hard to put the buyers live when we close the deal, or a seller, especially after COVID. Those things take time. So we have to schedule, okay, when is the buyer coming to see the house? Do they like it? So yes, that we do. But they don't give us and tell us, say that. We're not actress. I mean, Chriselle is an actress, but we're all real estate licensed agents. So yeah, it's not a fake show. I know I've been reading a lot, stuff on social media and online. But they put the cameras when we film at the office. We just start talking, and sometimes we forget the cameras are even there. So yeah, I would say definitely it's real, but obviously we do have some guidance what they want to film, what to focus on. I fight between two girls, then they might do a scene about me talking about the fight the next day. So they might do that. But they don't tell me, hey, you say this and all that. So yeah.
So I wanted to ask about a very recent tragedy that happened in Surfside. We know that members of the Hillel community were also lost in this tragedy. So just wanted to know, what has it been like in Miami since this event unfolded, from your experience?
Yeah, I was actually following obsessively about the Surfside building because I just don't understand how a building can collapse. Obviously, it was an older building on the ocean, and I drove by the way, a couple of times next to the site because I had showings like in the area. And it's so sad to like imagine a building just falling down. I feel like the building restrictions are even going to be more tough. And with inspections and permits, and a lot of, I hope it's the last one, to be honest, but a lot of those buildings are on Collins in Miami, if you guys been to Miami, they're old, and you're talking about water and the salt and all that stuff. So I'm worried it's not the last one. And I feel like people will maybe reconsider buying older units and in older buildings, because it's just like you have to do the recertification. It's 40 years for every old building, and could be huge assessment. And I to be honest, I wouldn't buy a unit in an older building. I would be scared after Surfside. Before that, nobody thought about it, but you see, it could happen. When I look at the news too, and I know it's not my business, but it looks like they were moving so slow. By the time they move like one piece of the rubber, I'm like, just go there, and I don't know. But it's a very sad situation. And I feel like with Miami, sometimes I feel like Miami is like Israel. People cut corners. It's very similar in that aspect. So hopefully now it will be more strict with codes and inspection, and not kind of like, you paying the inspector something and then you write off some stuff. But I think the buildings are getting more strict. And buyers too. The buyers are asking for the documentation from the HOA meetings and all that because they are worried. At least, yeah.
We have another question from the audience. So a lot of the students that are in our call tonight are really interested in real estate, want to start from the bottom. So what advice do you have for, essentially starting from the ground, starting from scratch and growing in real estate? Like, how do you build these leads? How do you find a good agency?
Good question. So because of that, I'm actually working on a real estate course, which hopefully I will launch around the show, because I've been getting a lot of these questions. So I'm working on a course that will basically be like one-to-one guidance from like listing, presentation, generating leads. The short answer to that, which I never give short answer, but it takes time, and you have to build, and you have to want to be in real estate. You can't expect Jason to give you clients, because usually it doesn't, unless you go on a date with him. Then you get maybe a listing or something. But in reality, in real life, you have to hustle for business. Yes, you can get lucky if you have great network and all that. But generally speaking, it's you want to do open houses. You want to go prospect, whether if you do network, maybe whether if you are a mom and you go to your school parents and you network there, and whatever chambers of commerce and organization, you have to build clients, and it takes time. And if you have money, I would invest in online marketing like I do on Zillow, and I do great with it. At least in Miami, it works for me. But it's a process, and it's not like a 1 year, process. Yeah.
So a question from Jessica at Michigan wants to know if you go to the many aromas around Miami.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, aroma. So I don't go to the ones in Miami as much, but I can tell you, every time I go to Israel, this is the first stop. So I want my tuna salad and my nice iced coffee. But
All right. We are gonna keep rolling here.
you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect.
So Emma at NYU wants to know, did you go to Maya and Tarek's wedding?
Heter and Tarek's. No. If I went to Heter's and Tarek's wedding, you said Maya and Tarek. I'm like, I'm not getting married to Tarek.
Sorry, yeah, I was I was reading the question wrong. My bad.
By the way,
My
funny
bad.
story. I met Tarek like 7 years ago before Flip and Flop came out. I was living the bungalow in Santa Monica because this used to be my spot. I was there every week. And then he left and we started talking. And I was like, oh, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. So we exchanged business cards and we were back then friends on Facebook. He was like, yeah, I have a show coming up, with my wife. So funny, huh? So I know Tarek before Heter actually know Tarek. But no, I was actually going to go. And the problem was we didn't have any help with the kids. Couldn't travel with me. And we didn't want to travel with the kids because COVID. So because I was filming Thursday and Tuesday in LA, I flew back and forth already twice. And I couldn't fly for Saturday for the wedding. Otherwise, I would just be too much zigzagging. And my husband would probably divorce me if I would live with the kids alone for 5 days because he has to work. So I canceled on an unfortunately last minute. But I was going to go to, and it's kind of sucked because I heard it was beautiful. But I gave her a nice gift. And now they are in a honeymoon in Dubai and the Maldives. Yeah.
Well, speaking of weddings, Dylan wants to know, out of all the weddings you have been to in your life, not like except your own, was Christine's the best you've ever attended?
My wedding was actually, by the way, very simple. We just did like 3 dinners in Chicago, New York, LA. We invited a bunch of friends to a private restaurant and we just celebrate like that. We save everybody the headache of traveling and all that. Simple and stress-free. Mary's wedding was very sweet. Can you hear me, by the way? Just making sure. Okay, because I see like my internet is like unstable. Mary's wedding was really nice and very like intimate. It was in a house up in the hills and I really liked it. Christine's wedding was amazing. So I would say actually, yeah, Christine and Mary's wedding is one of my favorite out of the weddings I've been to. And I've been to a lot. I mean, in Israel, people, when they get married, they do a big celebration. But I would say their wedding was actually pretty sweet. But I heard Tariq and Heter was even better.
Awesome. So we have a question from Mike from the University of Cincinnati. He wants to know, how long did it take from the day you got your real estate license to the time you were able to get $1 million listings?
10 years. No, I'm kidding. So I started real estate and then 2 years later, I was selling like a couple of small condos in LA, $1 million, dollar house here and there. And then I met 2 years later, after I was licensed, I met Ludacris in a place in LA. I was networking. I gave him a business card. And then I sold him a house for $5 million a couple of months later. So that was within 2 years. And then, you sell the rest and obviously you meet developers and network. But it takes time. I would say at least 2-3 years until you can have maybe more credibility and so on. Yeah, and by the way, even Jason, I tell you, Jason used to do a lot of open houses. He still does. He spent a lot of money on marketing, but he works lower price point clients in the beginning, and he just work his way up little by little. So again, it's a process. Yeah.
So Hillel International is currently in the midst of our Own Your Star campaign. And this has been an opportunity for thousands of Jewish students worldwide to counter the rising anti-Semitism with things that make them proud to be Jewish. So what makes you proud to be Jewish? How do you own your star?
So I feel like the Jewish culture is very, very close. And when you immediately when you have like Jewish people, they're always like welcoming, and they always want to make sure that you feel like you're home. I mean, that's why you see Chabad everywhere. And if you want to do the holidays, there is always like, it's a very tight community, I think, the Jewish community. And I think it's a great community. Not to mention the holidays, we have such a special holidays, besides Hanukkah compared to Christmas, because Christmas is nicer. But I think it's a great community, and it's just everywhere you go around the world, you're always going to have a place and you're going to feel like you're home because of that. And thankfully, besides the social media hate, which I try to avoid, I didn't experience anti-Semitic situations. So I'm very lucky and grateful for that. But I'm proud to be Jewish. My son goes to Jewish school, daycare, and it's nice to send him there because it brings me back with the traditions and that sometimes I don't necessarily follow. So yeah, they do the Shabbat every week, and it's just, it's special.
We have a question from a parent who is asking, do you notice a difference between how you are treated as a Jewish Israeli in Miami versus Los Angeles?
No, but although in LA, I knew I was more, I would say, connected to the Israeli community, and I guess the Jewish community too, because I used to go to the FIDF events and the REC, which is the real estate cabinet stuff. And in Miami, I do it less. I don't know if because I live in a different area that's like, well, I guess I live in Coral Gables, and it's close to like Pinecrest, and Pinecrest is pretty Jewish. But and Aventura and all these, that's on the other side, and those are more like, obviously Surfside too, heavy Jewish Israelis. So I don't live there. I'm not involved as much as I want to. I think now when I'm back in Miami full time, and after I'll deliver my baby, I'll probably get more involved with the organizations in Miami with the Jewish and Israelis, because I feel like I was more involved in LA. But I don't see the difference in terms of treatment. Like, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. It's just that in LA, you see, I feel like in LA, I've seen more, I want to say Jewish people, at least everywhere, because you have the Persian Jewish, you have like the Israelis, like it's just, I feel like I saw it more. And here I don't see it a lot because you have a lot of Latins in Miami. So it's a little bit different population.
Yeah, so just to follow up to that, how do you overcome the anti-Semitic comments you receive online? Like,
I was, whenever there is a heated conversation between the Israelis and the Palestinian, it bugs me that people just judge and say that we are, basically, what's the word called? Genetifies, whatever, genification. It bugs me that people say, so explain people, it's not the case. But when you argue with people who are so like, either, like brainwashed or set in their own opinion, it's like talking to the wall. So I do try to answer, and I got like in a lot of heated conversation on my social media, on my page, when I posted the blue square. I do answer, but to be honest, it just stressed me out. So I don't know if next time there is a conflict, I'm going to do it, because I was just literally like answering people, and I got a lot of DMs and all these Palestinian flags everywhere, and I want Israel as much as I can, but it's like, when you support, you get hate. When you don't support, then you get hate too. Obviously, I know you guys had Noah Tishby, and I think she is great in the way she explained things. I'm not as good as explaining things in the conflict. She's just, I don't know if her maybe less accent. She has a great English, so she's great. So I was trying to at least tag her Instagram so people can actually watch her video, because she did an amazing job. And then, you see Gal Gadot, people slam her too, because she didn't want to get involved. I try to answer and explain people what it is to live in Israel, and I grew up in Eilat, and thankfully it was semi-quiet, but I can tell you, I don't take buses in Israel. Because I was remembering, like, every time you take a bus, the bus can explode. So I actually don't drive. I don't take buses inside Israel. It just traumatized me. And people don't understand the reality of what it is to grow up in Israel, what it is to be in the South, next to Gaza. And unfortunately, they just judge because they watch the news, and the news are always not to our favor because we have a shitty, explanation in our end, like from our government. We don't have a good ambassador, I guess, if you want to call it this way, to explain the situation and why are we attacking, why are we doing things. So it's a very sensitive topic for me, but because of the whole show, I also have to be careful. Yeah, so it's kind of like, sensitive topic.
Our final question for you tonight, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Talia, is what advice would you have to college students? Most of the people on this call are college students. So
yeah,
what advice do you have for all of us?
I was always, honestly, like I always regret that I didn't go to college here. I think it's very important to have education. Yes, you can get your real estate license tomorrow and you maybe not need your college degree, but I think it's always great to have education because it always adds value. And obviously like follow your passion and get your degree and then decide what you want to do. Obviously when you get the degree, hopefully you know what you're going to do, but make sure to get it done. I mean, I was always like, if there is something I regret in my life that I didn't do, is actually getting some kind of like a degree in education. I would probably do something with real estate, but and I know it's never too late, but I just really don't have the time to spend right now on doing that. But whoever taking the education and college degree, definitely do it, because I think it's very important for the resume.
Maya, I want to thank you in the name of all of our amazing students in Hill International for such a cheerful and insightful.
So what did we learn today? A, Chriselle and Jason are real.
A lot of things.
B,
Yes.
Emma and Christine hate each other.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jordan and Serena as well. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it as much as all we did. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Bye.